Hi guys, it's Linton here from Greenbox Markets. Welcome to this week's forecast of the major currency pairs for the week. So let's have a look at the euro dollar first. Everybody by now will recall this structure over here that I spoke about having broken to the upside, and we waited for confirmation of that break, which indicated further upside. And I also mentioned last week that the 200 weekly moving average is more or less where the price is trading at the moment. And after the NFP news that came out on Friday, the price, which was well above that moving average, actually pushed back down just below that level. So it is presenting quite strong resistance at this point in time. So I am keeping my eyes open for possible reversals in the market at this point. Let's just go down to a smaller time frame quickly and have a look there. So guys, I mentioned last week that as long as we stay above this trend line over here, I'm still bullish euro. Obviously there can be pullbacks in between, so don't just expect it to keep going up because I'm bullish euro. Please look at the charts and analyze them according to your strategy and according to the analysis that I send out, and then make decisions based on that. So it is quite possible that from this point we're going to see the price correct a little bit down to back to this trend line, and at that point over there I'll be looking for indications to get back into a long for further upside. Alternatively, if this trend line breaks, I will wait for confirmation in the form of a flag or a wedge or some form of structure that breaks to the downside, and that will be my entry over there for the short. We could see a really big move back to the downside, especially with upcoming US dollar news in terms of interest rates, etc., with the Fed meeting again. So if we do get a move down and a break of this level over here, I definitely want to be short, and we'll probably keep that for quite some time. The initial trade that we took, I just want to show you on the 4-hour, was this structure over here, which broke. We did see the weekly resistance over there, and this structure over here, which broke to the upside, and that retest of this level over here was an entry for the long. So we need to keep an eye on this, as it's quite possible that we could see some kind of formation like this all the way back down to this kind of level here where this trend line is, and then I'll be looking for longs. Alternatively, we'll wait for the break and look for the short trades over there. Let's move on to the pound US dollar. The pound US on the daily has done pretty much what we expected it to. So we've got this structure over here, 1, 2, 3 waves, and it didn't quite get or didn't actually get anywhere near the fourth wave to the bottom of the structure as yet. And we saw the formation of this structure over here, which broke to the upside, and we actually took a long based on this little flag break over here. We see that 1, 2, 3 waves over there. We entered over there, the long back up to this level over here. So that was quite a nice little trade that we took. At the moment, I am looking for shorts on this pair. So let's drop down to a smaller time frame just to show you what I'm looking at. And the trend line to keep in mind is this one over here. So let's just go down to the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, we can see that this trend line has broken to the downside. Now that doesn't mean that I'm just going to jump into this trade. Obviously, I've got to wait for a structure formation to occur at this level over here to give me an indication that the downside is going to hold. So that would be what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for a structure formation below this level over here on the 1-hour chart to get an entry to trade short. Where will my target be? That will be based on the daily time frame. I'm hoping to trade this all the way back down to this level over here. We'll move our stop loss progressively further and further into profit as this trade moves. So we'll follow that all the way down to this level over here. Obviously, depending on how the structures form, but that is the trade that I want and that I'm looking for over there. USD CAD, the initial structure that we called some time back, weeks ago in fact, our entry was over here, which was around about the 7th of the 5th that week over there. We called the first short over here, looking for this target over there, which has actually been hit. and we're seeing a reversal from that point. So quite interestingly, the target on this initial impulse is still further way down. So we could see, let's just have a look at exactly where that target would be. So we could see still some downside over here, but I am expecting a corrective structure first. So target right down over here is quite possible on the dollar CAD, but that all depends on how this correction phase now takes place, and we are actually in a long trade here at the moment. So if we go down to the daily, we can see that this was our initial short break over there, and we've been trading shorts all the way down to this target level over here, where we have been expecting there to be some kind of reversal. And if we go down to the 4 hour, we can quite clearly see the structure that has broken to the upside, which was, let me just draw it in for you, 1, 2, 3 waves. And then we saw a little pullback and a break, which is quite textbook. So this trade we actually took over here, we're in a long at the moment on that break over there, and I'm expecting this corrective structure to complete a bigger sort of 1, 2, 3 wave structure. And at that point over there, we will be looking for shorts in order to get back in for the further downside targets on the larger time frames over here. So watching this pair quite closely, we're in this long, and I expect a nice decent corrective structure over here, but obviously as the price moves in our favor, we will move our stop loss further and further into profit, so that should we get a spike back, we lock in profits on this trade. Let's move on to the dollar yen. So the dollar yen has also done exactly what we expected to, and according to the analysis that I have sent out, so we saw this initial structure here, this 3 wave, which broke to the upside, and we expected to see higher highs over there based on this impulse over here. We expected to see that to the right hand side, which hasn't occurred yet. There wasn't any entry there for a long though, as we didn't see any flag setups with a break to the upside. So there were no trade setups that we got into over there, and we've been waiting for setups since. And this structure over here formed, giving us 3 waves, and we actually entered a short over there, which we have taken profit on due to a profit stop, which was in the market. So at this level here, we haven't quite reached back down to complete the structure 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the possible 5th wave up before we see further upside. So there is still the possibility that we are going to see some more downside here to this level first. If we do take any of these trades, and if you do enter any of them, please move your stops to entry or into very small profits quite soon after they move into that position, because at any point here we could see a large reversal in this price and a break to the upside. So keep that in mind. On the smaller time frames, if we drop down to the 1 hour, we can see over here that we have seen some demand in the market at this kind of level over here, but we could still see moves down to this point here. So it is possible that we will see something like this, giving us a structure formation like that, and a break of that structure is where we would want to get into the long on the bigger time frames back up to the top of the initial structure. Alternatively, if we see a break to the downside here, we definitely want to get into that trade on the break of a structure as well to the short side. I'm more inclined to believe that we're going to see upside from this level over here, but we will wait for structure formations and for confirmation of that to take place. Euro yen, the weekly time frame also trading on the 200 moving average, finding a lot of resistance there over the last couple of weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Call it 5 weeks trading on and around that level. So we've got to just bear in mind that that is presenting strong resistance. We've also had this 1, 2, 3 wave structure over there, which could be the top of that wave, and we could see a move back down from that point to this sort of level over here. So if we are in any longs, we need to keep our stops close by or in profit if we can. There is, however, a close on the weekly time frame above the 50 retracement level on this fib retracement, so it is quite possible that we will see the 60% retracement level first before we see a significant change in price. So keeping an eye on structures on the smaller time frame is very, very important with this pair at the moment. As long as we stay above this trend line over here on the euro yen, I am still bullish euro yen. If we break this trend line and we get another structure formation below it with a break to the downside, I will then be looking to get into the shorts back down to this sort of level over here, the bottom of the bigger structure. At the moment, we've seen 1, 2, and I'm expecting that we could see a third wave to the bottom on this structure. And at that point, we will need to see whether we're going to get back into the longs or whether we're actually going to see a break to the downside in order to get into the short trades over here. So this trend line over here being the most important trend that I'm watching at the moment on the euro yen with regards to targets to the upside. I'm possibly looking at a long over here up to the 60% retracement on the weekly chart. Euro pound. Euro pound is sort of the most difficult pair to read at the moment. A lot of guys in the market calling for shorts. I got caught out in a short last week as well. There was a smaller structure on a smaller time frame which did trigger to the downside, took the trade, and then we had the pound news on Thursday which pushed it straight to my stop loss level, and I'm out of that trade. So at the moment I'm hesitant on looking for longs as we are at significant resistance levels. But due to the pound news that's hit the market and monetary policy, I'm also hesitant to get into shorts over here. So at the moment, I'm a little bit wary of the euro pound currency pair. However, if we do get significant pullbacks down to this trend line over here, so if we see this kind of formation back down to this trend line over here, giving us a flag and a break of that flag, there I will definitely look for a long entry on this trade. And I will be looking to move my stop loss to break even very soon as that trade shows a little bit of profit, as it could get to this level and just reverse again. Alternatively, we could see a break of this trend line, and if we didn't see a break of this trend line and another structure formation to the downside, that will then, I'm pretty sure, indicate the move that everyone's been waiting for, and I'll get into the short trade over there. Let's move on to the New Zealand dollar US. Very similar situation with New Zealand dollar US. We've had this structure 1, 2, 3 waves which broke to the upside over here. As long as we stay above this trend line, I'm still bullish New Zealand dollar US dollar, and currently I'm waiting for a pullback to this level over here. Once we see a reach, let's just go down to a smaller time frame so it's a bit clearer. When we see the price get to this trend line over here, I'm definitely going to be looking for signs for entry to the upside. You know, a break of this line over here would more than likely indicate to me that we are going to see some more upside over here. So we've seen this 1, 2, 3 wave, so we could possibly see 4 and a 5 before we get a break to the upside. This here would be a good entry point for another long on this currency pair. Alternatively, same like the other pairs, if this important trend line on the daily breaks to the downside and gives us a flag formation with a break, I definitely want to be short on this pair over here. So the last pair that we're going to look at is the Aussie dollar US. We still have some targets to the upside based on this initial impulse over here on the weekly time frame. So that gives us this target over here, sort of the 0.82 mark. That's kind of where we're expecting the price to go. But again, as long as we stay above this trend line, I'm bullish. And if it breaks to the downside, I'll be looking for the shorts. And we'll definitely be looking at smaller time frames for entries on that. Also bear in mind that we are trading around the 200 weekly moving average. So a lot of the US dollar pairs are at that level at the moment, and if we do see US dollar strength come into the market, most of those pairs should pull back off the 200 moving average quite significantly, and we could get some really good positions over there, some nice trades. So if we drop down to the daily, we can see the trend line that I'm talking about, and it's quite possible that we'll see the price reverse back down to this level, and at that point I'll be looking for indications to get into a long up to this target over here. Alternatively, if the price breaks this level and gives us a structure formation with a break, I will definitely be entering over here for the downside trade, for a short trade. Guys, I hope that helps you with your setups and with some direction for the week ahead. Trade with care and keep your stops in a position where you're locking in profits on your trade and systematically following the price along. Have a good week. Take care. Cheers.